Hi there, grade 10. Our lesson for today is about angle. Now, two distinct points A and B determine a line called as line AB. Now, portion of this line AB between points A and B, including points A and B themselves, is what we call as line segment. Particularly, we call that as line segment AB or simply segment AB. Now, portion of this line starting with point A going to the right of B up to infinity is what we call as the ray. Now, class, an angle is formed by rotating a ray around its endpoint. The ray in its initial position is called as the initial side of an angle, while the ray in its location after the rotation is called as the terminal side of an angle. So the endpoint of the ray is what we call as the vertex of the angle. So this figure below will show the initial and the terminal sides of an angle with this vertex. So this one is the initial side. Side again is the side where the rotation will start, and terminal side where the rotation will end. Now, if the rotation of the terminal side is counterclockwise, the angle is positive. So for this angle is positive since its rotation is counterclockwise. Otherwise, it's negative if its rotation is clockwise. So the most common unit measuring angles is the degree. So degree measures was developed by the Babylonians 4,000 years ago. To use degree measure, we assign 360 degrees to a complete rotation of a ray. An angle measuring 0 between 0 and 90, less than 90 rather, is an acute angle, while an angle measuring exactly 90 is a right angle. So an angle measuring more than 90 but less than 180 is obtuse angle, and an angle of exactly 180 is a straight angle. Now, we're going to find measures of complementary and supplementary angles. Now, in this figure, since the two angles form a right angle, we call this pair as complementary angles, while these angles in the second figure are supplementary because their sum is equal to 180 degree. So, working on the degree measure of each angle in the figure will, for instance, require us to sum up 6m and 3m to 90 since the two is or the two angles are complementary angles. So combining like terms on the left side of the equation, we'll have 9m equals 90. Dividing both sides by 9. So we'll come up with m equals 10. Substituting m equals 10 to the variable m, so we have 6 times 10 equals 60, while 3 times 10 equals 30. So their sum really equals 90 degrees. So this one is 60 degrees, while this one is 30 degrees. For the second figure, we will add up 4k and 6k to 180 degrees. So combining like terms on the left side and dividing both sides by 10, so k equals 18. Substituting k equals 18 to the variable k, so we have 4k, 4 times 18. So we know that 4 times 18 is equal to 4 times 8 is 32. So this is 72 degrees. While the other one is 6 times 18. So this is 6 times 8 is 48. This is 108. And the sum of 108 and 72 is 180. So this one is 72 degrees, while this one is 108 degrees. Now, how about an angle in standard position? An angle in standard position, if its vertex is at the origin and its initial side is along the positive x-axis. So the figures in below are in standard position. So an angle in standard position is said to lie in the first quadrant in which its terminal side lies. So an acute angle is in quadrant 1 and an acute angle in quadrant 2. So for example, angle B here is an angle in standard position since its initial side lies along the positive x-axis. So we call this angle in standard position. Now, each angle in each quadrant here can be considered as an angle in standard position provided that the initial side should lie along this positive x-axis. How about coterminal angles? Now, a complete rotation of ray results in an angle measuring 360 degrees. By continuing by continuous rotation, angles of measure larger than 360 degrees can be produced. The angles in the figure below with measures 80 and 880 have the initial side and the same terminal side but different amounts of rotation. So such angles are called as coterminal angles. So their measures differ by a multiple of 360 degrees. As shown also here, figure in this figure below, 70, 430 degrees and 790 are coterminal. They've got the same initial side and terminal side, but they differ with the amounts of rotation. Now we're going to work on finding the angles of smallest positive measure coterminal with each angle. So how are we going to work with number one? It says here that we're asked to work on the smallest positive measure. So we will not consider negative angle here. So and we want the smallest positive. So the smallest positive measure is an angle greater than 0 but less than 360 because one complete rotation as we know is 360 and we're looking for the smallest positive measure, so that should be less than 360. So to come up with that value, we will subtract 800 by 360 as many as we can until we reach the value less than 360. So in this event, we may less 800 by twice of 360. So we have 800 less 720. And this is 80 degrees. Now, an angle measures 880 have the same terminal side. So we call them as coterminal. And this 80-degree is the smallest positive measure coterminal with 800. Now, the last two angle are negative angles. So how are we going to work with its positive, smallest positive measure, coterminal with this negative angle? So instead of subtracting, we will add 360. So negative 100 plus 360 equals 260 degrees. So this is the smallest positive measure coterminal with theta measures negative 100. So if we're going to illustrate negative 100, and negative 100, its rotation is clockwise. So this is the initial side. And this one until here is 90. And then we will extend a little here. So this is negative 100 degrees. And this coterminal with 260 degrees. And this is 260 degrees class. 260 degrees. Okay? So 260 degrees is a positive angle. So its rotation is counterclockwise. So this is the initial side going to this direction until this one. And they got the same terminal side. So for negative 220, we will add 360. So we have 360 less 220. So this is 140 degrees. So where is negative 220 degrees? So since this is negative, so the rotation is clockwise. So from here until here is 180, but it's 120, so 60 more degrees. So most probably, this is the terminal side. So going here to here is negative 220. And positive 140 is going to this initial side until this one. So this is positive 140. So really, positive 140 degrees and negative 220 are coterminal angles because they have the same terminal side. Okay, so I hope you were able to understand our discussion pertaining to angles. So bye for now.